So, is all cybersecurity training pretty much the same? Not even a little bit. Today, we're going to break down two totally different ways to think about training. You've got the super technical, in the weeds stuff for operators, and then you have the big picture, strategic exercises that are really meant for the entire team. And believe me, knowing the difference is everything.
Here's the problem you see happen all the time. A company runs this really complex technical cyber drill, but the people who actually need to make the tough calls, the managers, the execs, they're basically just watching from the sidelines. I mean, if they can't even understand what's going on, how are they supposed to practice making those game time decisions? Okay, so let's pop the hood and look at the tools that are built specifically for the technicians. We're talking about really powerful command line platforms made for operators who live and breathe in the digital trenches. And a fantastic example of this is a tool called Caldera.
So, what exactly is Caldera? Well, at its heart, it's what we call a command and control tool, or just C2 for short. And what that means is, it lets an operator drop a tiny piece of software, an agent, onto a target computer. And from that point on, they can send commands to that machine from anywhere, which is a perfect way to simulate how a real attacker would operate. So what does this actually look like in action? Let's just walk through a really simple example. An operator using Caldera could send a command to, say, list all the files in a folder on the target machine. Then they could send another one to read what's inside a sensitive file, maybe something called secret.txt, and pull that data out. And when they're all done, they send one last command to uninstall their agent, totally erasing their tracks. It's super precise, very technical, and incredibly effective. And this quote just nails it. For someone who is hands-on keyboard, a tool like this is an absolute powerhouse. You've got direct control. You can install things, you can run things, you can cover your tracks. It is the very definition of tactical, hands-on work. But, and this is a big but, all that technical power comes with a pretty serious downside. It creates a huge communication gap. The operator might have total control, but they're often doing it all by themselves in a bubble. This question right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. Just imagine you're the tech guy running this whole exercise, and your boss walks in and asks what's going on. Are you really going to turn the monitor around and show them a black screen with blinking text? Of course not. They won't have a clue what they're looking at, which means they can't learn, they can't contribute, and they can't practice making strategic calls. This isn't a new problem. One of the sources actually mentioned a really old-school solution, literally printing out entire exercises on physical cards. And the whole point was to create a common language so that everyone, from the person typing the commands to the general overseeing the operation, could follow along and actually be a part of the exercise. And this just shows you the massive difference in focus. Your technician is staring at the command line, worried about syntax and whether the command worked. Meanwhile, management is thinking about business impact, about resources, about overall strategy. When your training tool only speaks one of those languages, you're pretty much guaranteeing a disconnect. All right, so that brings us to the other training philosophy, building a platform that's made from the very beginning to bring everybody into the fold and create a shared view of the battlefield. I love this quote because it just perfectly sums up the mission here. It's not about ditching the tech people. It's about getting the technical folks, the operations team, and the strategic leaders of a company all into the same room, even a virtual one, to solve the problem together. The solution, then, is a totally different kind of tool. Platforms like ThreatGEN Red versus Blue get rid of the command line, and instead, they use a visual interface. So instead of typing code, the whole team makes decisions together by clicking on a network diagram that anyone, and I mean anyone, can understand. So what really sets these platforms apart? Well, first off, the interface is visual and just makes sense, which helps bring all the different roles together. This totally shifts the focus from how to type a command to what is the best strategic decision we can make right now. And, critically, management can jump right in and play without ever needing to see a command prompt, which makes it perfect for practicing really complex scenarios, like how you defend a major pipeline company. And what's really cool is that these platforms let teams use high-level strategies right in the middle of a live exercise. For example, they can actually use guidelines from the NIST Cybersecurity framework to inform their moves, deciding whether it's more important to identify a threat, protect a system, or recover from an attack. It turns abstract policy into real, concrete actions. Okay, so let's bring this all home. The real difference we're talking about here is a focus on overall strategy instead of just the syntax of a command. This table really lays it all out. On one side, you have technical tools like Caldera. They're for the operator, they use a command line, and they're all about tactical execution, the how to do it. On the other side, you have strategic platforms. They're for the entire team. They use a visual diagram, and they're all about making decisions. The why are we doing this, and what should we do next? Now, this is so important to get. One of these approaches is not better than the other. They just do different jobs. Command line tools are absolutely essential for giving operators the hands-on skills they need. Strategic platforms are for training the whole team on how to work as one cohesive unit and make smart, integrated decisions. And that brings us right back to the main goal. Let's be honest, effective cybersecurity isn't about one brilliant person working alone in a dark room. It's about building a unified team where every single person, from the keyboard to the boardroom, knows their role and can communicate clearly when things go sideways. So the biggest thing to take away from all this is simple. While having deep technical skills is the bedrock of any security team, real, lasting security comes from an integrated team strategy where everyone is on the same page, trained, and ready to go. And so I'll leave you with a question to think about for your own workplace. When you look at how your organization trains, are you just sharpening individual tactical skills, or are you actually building a unified, cohesive strategy for the entire team? Hey, if you found this breakdown useful, hitting that subscribe button and giving us a like really does help a lot. It lets us keep making more explainers on important topics just like this one. Thanks so much for watching.